Hello.
There he is. I'd know that voice anywhere. Aloha, Jorma, Dave Lawrence from Hawaii Public Radio. How you doing, brother?
Aloha, man. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, you too, brother. You too, for sure. It's been a long time, and
it has. Well, it won't be too much longer. We'll be there before you know it.
I'm assuming you can hear me okay?
I hear you perfectly.
Great, and I got you good.
This has worked out really great. I've been working so much, I haven't really had much time for myself lately. And today I've been on a motorcycle ride all day long. I pulled off the road because I knew you were going to call. It's a beautiful day. I'm sitting at a picnic bench. I can see my bike, so I don't need to worry about it. It's a beautiful day, and we're talking. How good does it have to get?
It doesn't get much better than that. I like that.
Not much.
Very appreciative. That's a lesson in itself right there, your approach
truly.
to the moment. Are you in the D.C. area like the thing? Or?
No. I live in Southeast Ohio. I've got my wife and I have a DC phone because I have a 18-year-old son that lives in the Northern Virginia, and before he had a cell phone, this way he could call us without making long-distance calls. I just kept the number ever since.
That's cool. Well, with your DC roots, you can't fault me for wondering where I am.
No, absolutely not. And there's no question that DC is my hometown.
Right on, man. And I know all about the ranch. Well, let me get into the thing. I'm rolling some tape here.
Fire away.
So the Ain't in No Hurry. It's the title itself just seems to go with what you were just talking about, relaxing by the side of the bike, taking in the quieter moments. And it's true, man, because as I get older and, in the last couple of years, I lost my mom and my grandmom, and it really helped me see the world in a whole different light. And when I
understand, believe me.
I can tell because of some of the material even on this record, and it's a collection of not only original music, but it's also a variety of, I'm going to call them interpretive selections, and
sure,
there's a bit of treasure from Woody Guthrie too. Just if you could paint a little picture for everyone listening ahead of the tour, what exactly is on Ain't in No Hurry?
Sure. Well, it all started out, that's kind of where I am. I mean, it really, like you said, it really pretty much describes who I am today, but the way it all came about is, we had this guy at the ranch a couple of years ago as a student. His name was Jim Egan. And on Sunday, we have an open mic on our little ranch weekends. And Jim played this song. And my wife said, "That's a great song. You got to do it." And I listened to it. And I said, "You're absolutely right." So I got, Jim is a very talented musician, but he's not a professional. I don't think he ever thought for a million years that his song was going to have this kind of long legs. Now, I don't see him retiring from the amount of royalties he's going to make on a record that I make. I'm not Taylor Swift, for better or worse. But in any case, you just think about things. 74 years old. I don't need to be in a hurry, because I'm pretty much happy with where I am. And so far I've been very fortunate. I'm healthy. My kids are doing good. I get to play music. I get to talk with you. I mean, once again, how good does it have to get? There's when I was younger, everything seemed so unbelievably important in a different kind of way. They're important today, in that day, but before was, I don't know what I thought before. I don't know. I'm more serene than I used to be. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I know what you mean, because it's a lot of it, if I can paraphrase, is like when you're younger, the things that are important to you seem to, in some way, not to diminish them, but they're based around things that are here, material, and ultimately seem pedestrian when compared to the deeper things.
You're right. Sad but true. What did we get past this lesson on to our kids? Good luck with that.
Right. That's it. That's it I'm talking about. Talk about that Woody Guthrie thing, though, brother.
Sure. Well, I've been Nora Guthrie is the guardian of the Guthrie legacy. She's Woody's daughter, and I've known her for a number of years, and she had offered both Larry Campbell and myself an opportunity to write some music for some Woody stuff, and I tend to be deadline driven. I never, aside from the honor of being offered that, I just never really had the kick in the butt to make me do it. But here we were, we're getting ready, we're doing the Ain't No Hurry project, and we're about halfway through, and I started to get in a hurry because I realized that this would be a great time to get a hold of Nora. So I emailed her and told her what we were up to, and she sent Larry and myself 4 Woody poems. Now, sometimes in the interviews, people go, "Wow, you discovered a lost Woody." I'm sure there are some lost Woody things, but they have thousands of thousands. He was very prolific, and they've cataloged. They have a lot of stuff that nobody's seen because they're just waiting for the right moment. Anyway, so Nora sent us 4 Woody tunes. Now, I got it in a Dropbox thing, and they were like photographs of the manuscripts in his handwriting. It was so cool. 3 of the 4 songs were sort of like free form, almost like beat poetry, and I could have heard like a jazz accompaniment, but not a song.
Right.
But the last one, the one we did, "Stuff for Little Children," had 5 verses, 4 lines of verse. I'm all over that.
It had a structure. It had a structure that lent itself.
Totally. I need structure. So anyway, so we looked at that, and then of course we decided, yeah, that's the one we're going to do. And then we waited, and then we're like a day or so. We recorded this project at the Fur Peace Ranch at our little radio station. Our theater. And I realized we've got a couple of days, and we haven't written the music for Stuff for Little Children yet. So we sat down backstage. I recorded it on my stage at the Fur Peace stage. We sat down backstage, and I played that lick. And we just started jamming, and the song evolved in like 15 minutes, Now, I teach songwriting periodically. This is not the best way to write a song. But it worked this time, thank goodness.
And what a cool thing to get to do. What an honor, like you said, to get to work on it.
Right. Yeah, and that's the bottom line, too, Woody, wherever you are, buddy, it was an honor working with you.
And that's exactly it. And I do believe if you think hard enough and feel the connection strong enough, he'll get the message without question. Larry Campbell, he's a guy that some may know from his Dylan days, and his wife, Teresa Williams. They have a big footprint, I would call it, on this project. What made him such a good fit?
Well, I've worked with Larry on 3 projects now. Larry, aside from being one of the great musical talents of any generation, and Teresa also, but one of his great talents is whoever he's working with, it's like he's been in your band all your life. Now, his Americana sensibilities, in my opinion, are peerless. And, he's a low-stress guy to work with. He'll play or he'll not play, whatever. He just seemed to draw the best out of me, which was really a good thing. And, Larry and Teresa also, they have an album that's coming out on Red House Records also. And it's something you got to check out. My wife just got a rush. I don't know if it's actually available yet, but you're going to love that. But anyway, to work with him is such a pleasure. It's a low stress thing. I would do it anytime at all.
What's cool is, and we were talking about this, I guess, a little bit a moment ago, and I'd like to hear a bit more about it. Seasons in the Field is one of those ones that when we talk about pulling off to the side of the road and the way you just kind of, a lot of people in life, you have this quest for more, and there's no denying you've had a lot, but there's something about the way I've read about this song when I check it out. If you can talk a little bit about the observations that inform it.
Well, in some respects, there are many really autobiographical aspects to that song. But as a writer, as a songwriter, when you write something, you never really know how if somebody else is going to get what it is you're trying to say. I'm not a political scientist, so as long as people get something out of my writing and enjoy it, I'm really good with that. When I was younger, I used to go, you don't understand me, if somebody didn't get it. I'm over that.
Right on.
So if people like something that I do, then I'm really good with that. But I started out with that. At the beginning of that song was how I felt when I got out of high school my senior year in 1959. Driving around, it was just like putting gas in the car, buying strings for the guitar, and then a sort of stream of consciousness thing happened, and it got beyond just trying to replicate writing a biography or an autobiography rather. But that's really once again. There's certain very distinct autobiographical aspects of that tune, but basically it's just the way I feel.
When you think about
and the metaphor of seasons in the field, things die so other things can grow, all that stuff.
When you look at the way that a person changes in those seasons in the field, if that is your life as seasons in the field, can you point to things as you look back at yourself and you say, because sometimes you things that are about you that you think have changed come back, they reemerge in your personality, perhaps, and at your point in life, giving full respect to the vantage point that your age provides, looking back, are there any ways you can just illuminate, like, man, I really, in one way, I was very into this and then I changed, or something,
right.
The things that mattered to you, if you will.
Well, one of the places that I could go to with this before I get into my take on it is that Shakespeare thing, Jake, 7 Ages of Man. Where they talk about you start out as a baby, and then at the end of life you're puking all over yourself again. I mean, you sort of return to where you started. And there's like I said, I'm at a picnic bench right now, so I don't have it in front of me. My ex-wife, bless her, was from Sweden. And then the Swedish folks have like a folk poem that's about that whole thing too. But anyway, you start out, and of course, when you're a kid, you're just a kid. But then if you're somebody like myself, your art gets taken seriously. Now I was so lucky because even before the Jefferson Airplane, for whatever reason, I had some quality, even as a relatively unschooled player, that people liked. And then the airplane happened, and all this kind of stuff, and then you sort of start to get all full of yourself, like you're entitled, like you've earned, you earn your ability to play because you spend time doing it, but you don't necessarily earn people's appreciation. Now, that's something you can't script, in my opinion. And you go through the selfish years or whatever. I mean, for me anyway, I'm not saying everybody does that, but then all of a sudden you get to a point in your life and you realize that, hey, listen, it's not all about me. I'm certainly an important piece of the puzzle, but it's not about me. It's about my friends. It's about my family. It's about my ability to do what I've done all my life. I've been pretty much able to write my own ticket all my life, and and I've come to really appreciate that. I mean, I think there's a time when I sort of took it for granted, and then you go through some lean years and you realize, well, wait a minute, you can get it and it can be taken away. But so far things have worked out okay, and I'm appreciative about that. You see all these T-shirts, life is good. Life isn't always good. We all know that. Stuff happens, and that is life. But I think, basically speaking, it's good. And as my dad used to say, may he rest in peace, life is a series of successful adaptations. And so far, I'm adapting pretty well.
I love that. That's funny you say that. I interviewed this Washington, D.C. area reggae band Soja, and the guy says, the singer Jacob Hemphill, he has this thing about life, and he said life is a process of never-ending changes. And it's just funny that... Yeah.
And that's not original thought, but
right.
It's a deep thought. And it's worth having.
Right, I get you. Yeah, it's what you're saying. It's also kind of like what you're saying with the Shakespeare. A lot of these concepts have been around for a very long time, and they're truths that we sometimes forget in the course of life. And that was a great story. I think what I learned from that, what you just said, is that journey of the ego is probably a very similar one for a lot of folks.
I'm sure it is. And, and it's not, I don't think it's unnatural. I think that it's part of a maturing process. And believe me, in case my wife ever hears this interview, I'm not suggesting that I'm completely mature yet. But you know what I mean.
I do, my brother.
It's a process.
Exactly. And on that, the concept of process, this record comes out, then you come back with Jack, who we'll talk about that unique relationship in a moment. Sure. But for folks coming to the Hot Tuna show, which can be an eclectic, inclusive kind of place.
Absolutely.
Does the material from Ain't No Hurry find a home there? And if you can, just kind of take us through what's coming to Hawaii.
Sure. Now I'll tell you a quick funny story. I did an acoustic remake of a song that I did back in the 70s with Hot Tuna, that Ballroom Crystal Ball thing. And when Larry and I had finished cutting the basic tracks and we needed a bass part, I thought about asking my friend Myron or Larry to play bass, but then we realized that there's only one person who could play bass on this song, and that would have to be Jack. So I called him up and I go, now, I don't know if you've ever talked to Jack before, but if you ever do, my poor imitation of him will really resonate with you. So I call him up and I tell him, listen, Jack, I'm re-recording Ballroom Crystal Ball, and I want you to play bass. And he goes, well, Jorma, don't you think that sort of blurs the lines between... And he goes on with this blurring the lines between Hot Tuna and Jorma Soul, whatever that is. And I let him talk for about 9 or 10 minutes, and then I said, Jack, I'm going to say one thing. I played on your record. And then he said, okay, I'll do it. So he did. So anyway, that sort of dovetails into the Jack thing. Jack and I, he's my oldest friend. We started playing together in 1958. If we were doing a three-way interview. If Jack was involved in this conversation, well, it'd really be easy on me because I wouldn't have to say anything. You know, people always at gigs would go, "Hey, Jack, say something." Well, let me tell you, Jack is never at a loss for words when he has something to say. We're really different people, kind of like the odd couple of rock and roll or whatever. But we don't argue. We don't agree about everything, absolutely not. But we've never argued about stuff. We don't have band meetings. And we've always respected each other as men and as artists. And as a result, we can get together anytime, and we don't have to overcome some noxious event that one of us has perpetrated on the other.
It's amazing how you guys have fit. I was lucky a long time ago, and I would never expect a guy with your busy life to remember it. But in '98, you were doing this gig in Boston area, Somerville Theater, and I convinced whoever was handling you to bring you brought the whole band into WZLX in Boston and did a in-studio acoustic performance with everybody.
Cool.
In the studio. Yeah, it was really, really fun to get to watch. And I mean, from there, I could see, because I watched and listened to you, and I've gotten to talk to Jack several different times since.
Oh, you know the deal. You got the deal.
Yeah, he has and it's just remarkable that you guys have shared this. And I guess it leads us into another area of your life that certainly I've always been fascinated about. I don't think a conversation with you would be complete without it. Really, you mentioned it earlier, and you do recording there, the Fur Peace Ranch, and for fans and musicians who don't realize, I would say, the opportunities, Jorma, of this place. Maybe you could explain how it works. Sure. And why you started it.
Well, the way it really works is kind of sappy to talk about, but we'll get to that. Fur Peace Ranch, I own 126 acres in Southeast Ohio, and we have our own NPR show. We've got our 250-seat theater. We've got these classrooms. Our classes are from Friday morning to Monday morning, and I'm there most of the time, but not all the time. We have great teachers. But it's not about just the great teachers and the beautiful setting where I live and stuff like that, because there's lots of places that have stuff like that. What happens at the ranch, and you can't script this, but what does happen, if you ever talk to one of the ranchers, they'll tell you, it's an interesting musical community becomes engendered that transcends the boundaries of the ranch itself. You know, friendships that go back into the quote-unquote the real world, musical friendships, personal friendships, because everybody here is a like-minded spirit, you know. They're there, you know, in the 18-some years we've been open, I can't think of any jerks coming to the ranch because we don't seem to attract jerks for whatever reason. I don't know. But in any case, so it's all about community and fellowship. And of course, quality music too, you know, because we have really quality guys. But like we just had a camp last weekend. It was myself, Guy Davis, and John Doyle, great Celtic guitar player. And this, by some strange quirk, almost everybody. We had about 25, 28 people that weekend. Almost everybody was a first timer. But we have like a 90-something% return rate. So usually there's a lot of people that have been there before, but this time almost everybody was new. And I got to see a bunch of people who'd never met each other before. I got to see that community thing happening over the course of the weekend, and it just really, you know, like I said, it's hard to talk about. It sounds sappy, but it's real, and it's really cool.
You know, that's just part of who you are. When I think about that, I mean, it really it's a lot of what you've kind of developed into something. I mean, it's like, to me, what more could you add when you're talking about being satisfied with your life? 126 acres or whatever, but to be able to do what you love doing like that, you love doing that.
No, I do, and you know, we have when we have our Thanksgiving dinners, we get together with a bunch of family and friends, and everybody goes, "What are you thankful for? What do you hope for in life?" I mean, I'm thankful about so much. We don't have enough time for this interview to do that. But what I hope for today is to live long enough. I have a 17-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. I would like to see my children as young adults, because my son's almost there, but I like to see that. And if I did that, I'd be good to go.
You've had a remarkable journey, and I really appreciate getting to hear about it, and just to spend a little time with you. It means a lot, Jorma. And this is going to be.
Well, thanks, man. And I'll tell you honestly, also, for guys like us that have been around for so long, we appreciate guys like you that allow us to have these conversations, because time moves on, and not everybody's interested in my deep thoughts.
Those are the ones, I guess, after this at this point in my life, those are the ones I'm most interested in. I'll leave you with this thought: you're going to be doing 2 different gigs in Honolulu. If it's at all possible, I'd love to be able to, at your convenience, if you can. If you can, I understand. I can drop by, record a quick kind of follow-up thing with you while you're in the islands. Do you think that's possible?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Get in touch with Cash about that.
Yep, I've got his info.
And she'll hook you up with my. We could do it in a sound check or something.
Yeah, something like that would be great.
That'd be great, man. Absolutely. Aloha, Jorma Kaukonen from Hot Tuna, and your turn to my friend Dave Lawrence. It's All Things Considered on Hawaii Public Radio.
I'm giving you a big hug, man, and I appreciate what you said. That gives me
back at you, brother. And like I said, I'll see you out there on Oahu.
Yeah.
We actually have a couple of days off while we're going to be there, so I'm looking forward. I don't know where we're going to have those days off, but because normally when I'm touring Hawaii, you fly every day, and so people go, "Wow, it's really got to be great." I said, "It is great. Hawaii's a paradise. I'm in Hawaii, but I'm actually going to have a chance to maybe go to the beach or rent a motor scooter or something like that. We'll see. In any case, get a hold of Cash. Let's talk.
We will. God bless you. You travel safe, brother.
Back at you, brother.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Man.
Aloha.
Bye-bye.